Good evening and welcome back to Hawk TV News.
Sage, it has been a while since we've been here at Hawk TV News.
Yes.
We have been very busy here at Hawk TV. Throughout October, we were preparing for our second annual Hawktober special.
And special it was, Ava. We will be talking more about Hawktober and everything else happening around Monmouth tonight in Hawk TV News. It's election day across America, and voters are heading to the polls to make their voices heard. Here in New Jersey, residents are casting their ballots to decide who will serve as the next governor. Polling locations opened early this morning and will remain open until 8 o'clock this evening, giving voters plenty of time to participate in the democratic process. Turnout is expected to be strong as many New Jerseyans say this election could shape the state's future on key issues such as taxes, education, and the economy. Officials remind voters to check their local polling place and bring any required identification before casting their vote. Results are expected to begin coming in later tonight.
New at Monmouth University, the athletics department is taking steps to strengthen its programs both on and off the field. They've announced plans to hire a senior associate athletic director for annual giving, NIL, or name, image, and likeness, and revenue generation. The new position is aimed at boosting fundraising and connecting alumni, donors, and fans to better support student athletes. Director of Athletics Jen Sansevero said the role will play a vital part in helping Monmouth Athletics provide a transformative student-athlete experience and remain competitive during a time of major change in college sports. Sansevero adds that there will be a new hire that will help grow resources for athletic programs for football and basketball to Olympic sports, ensuring every Hawk has the tools to succeed.
From October 14th through the 17th, students a part of Blue Hawk Records attended the Mondo NYC Music and Tech Conference in New York City at the Arlo Williamsburg Hotel. The event was centered around music, arts, and technology professionals working within the music industry. The experts leading the conference covered many fields students can pursue within the industry, including legal, business administration, marketing, and music journalism, through panels and networking opportunities. Students attending events like Mondo NYC continue to strengthen the hands-on educational experience at Monmouth that allows students to have bright futures after graduation.
And speaking of students having careers after graduation, Aunt Kasseri is going to be talking about the DJ Fest that will take place in early December.
Hey guys, it's Anthony, aka DJ Cass, and I'm here to tell you guys about the DJ Fest that we have coming up next month. So on Tuesday, December 2nd, for the very first time in Monmouth University history, the WMCX, which is Monmouth's student-run radio station, is going to be hosting a DJ festival. I'm going to be the main host, along with the entire WMCX e-board group, so shout out to them right now. We are going to have 5 or 6 DJs. They are going to come up. We rented out professional gear for the night. We are going to turn the entire classroom, and the entire building, for that matter, into a giant nightclub. We're going to have CO2 smoke cannons. We are going to have lights, lasers, possibly even food, all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm not going to reveal the lineup just yet, but we have a lot of big DJs. We have Monmouth alumni coming back. We have a DJ that has over 200,000 followers on TikTok and is huge. We got some frat DJs, and of course, we have yours truly DJing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure to go follow WMCX on their Instagram account to keep track of the events coming up, who the lineup, and a bunch of other stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty it. So.
We are now into November, which means Halloween is in the rear view and the holidays are right around the corner. If you are reminiscent on the spooky season and not ready to let it go just yet, go check out Hawktober. Hawk TV's second annual Halloween special went live on Halloween night and has almost surpassed last year's view count. The overall story of this year's special is a whodunit, murder mystery story. In between the segments, we have bumpers that recreate iconic film scenes, and I'll tell you, our Hawk TV members used their best acting skills to make this happen. No Hawk TV special would be complete without a little friendly competition, and Hawktober is no different. With mummy wrapping competition and a trivia segment, we had so much fun making this special, and if you haven't seen it, be sure to check it out.
And speaking of Halloween, Sage, we had the opportunity to attend the 25th anniversary celebration of the Shadows of Shadowlawn documentary. This film was released in 2005 and was co-produced by Monmouth University and Hawk TV alumni Tom Hanley and Pat Parado. The radio management class partnered with the communication clubs like WMCX, Comworks, Hawk Interactive, and Hawk TV to put on this event that had featured a haunted hallway and the Plangier Catwalk, refreshments, and a screening of the documentary, and a special Q&A with producer Tom Hanley. I had the privilege of covering this event for the Hawktober special, especially because I love the history of the Great Hall at Monmouth University, and I'll be doing a deep dive into that history coming up next. Monmouth University's most prominent building, even featured on the logo, is an iconic part of our university. And it's even an iconic part of popular culture, as it was the Great Hall. Wait, sorry, I'm gonna start over. Monmouth University's most prominent building, even featured on our logo, is an iconic part of our university experience. And it's even an iconic part of popular culture, as the Great Hall served as Daddy Warbucks' mansion in the 1982 film Annie. But the Great Hall that stands today was built in 1929, yet it's built on the footsteps of the other mansion at Shadow Lawn, which burnt down in 1929. The original 52-room mansion was owned by Colonel Joseph Benedict Greenhut in 1915, and he offered it to President Woodrow Wilson so it could serve as the president's 1916 summer White House and the planning center for Wilson's second-term campaign. According to the Monmouth University website, President Wilson stayed at the estate from November 1st to November 8th. However, the fire that destroyed the mansion in January of 1927 had occurred only 1 year after Hubert T. Parson, the president of the Woolworth Company at the time, had bought the Shadow Lawn estate after he had spent $1 million renovating the mansion. After the original mansion was destroyed, Parson had commissioned architect Horace Trimbauer and his assistant Julian Abel, who was the first African-American professional architect, to design the mansion that stands today. The home was finished in 1929 and has 130 rooms, including an indoor swimming pool, a bowling alley, a theater, and a chapel. And no expense was spared in the creation of this mansion, which cost the Parsons a total of $10.5 million when it was built. The mansion features limestone quarried in Bedford, Indiana, which was used in the Empire State Building. There's 50 varieties of Italian marble and steel and concrete framing the entire mansion, so it would be fireproof. The chapel that's located in the lower level was taken from a Tudor abbey and brought here to West Long Branch, said Jan Connolly, a former director of special events and programs in the Shadows of Shadow Lawn documentary, which was released in 2005 by Tom Hanley and Patrick Parado, which included a guided tour of the Great Hall, which explained its rich history. The only residents who lived in the home when the Parsons owned it was Hubert and his wife Maisie, and then Maisie's unmarried sister Bertha, who acted as the housekeeper who oversaw the servants and staff, according to the Shadows of Shadow Lawn documentary. The documentary also notes that the Great Hall is an extravagant mansion with plenty of event spaces, which the Parsons rarely used because they barely ever had guests. Since the Parsons were considered new money, they were not well accepted into the West Long Branch social scene, especially by neighbors Murray and Leonie Guggenheim. The Guggenheims lived across the street in what we know as the Guggenheim Memorial Library and reportedly referenced the Parson house as being gaudy, even going as far as throwing a party on the same night that Maisie Parson had planned to make her debut as a hostess, resulting in absolutely no one showing up to the Great Lawn. So students may ask themselves, how did Monmouth University acquire the Great Hall? That's a good question, and the short answer is that Hubert Parson lost a lot of his money due to the Great Depression. And to add to that, in 1932, Parson had reached the executive retirement age enforced by the Woolworth Company of 60 years old. So after 12 years, he was no longer serving as the company president, as reported by the New York Times. Parson had started with the Woolworth organization as a bookkeeper at a salary of $12 a week. He worked his way up through the company through his 40 years there and ended up as president. He was no longer able to afford his and Maisie's lavish lifestyle after his retirement, and due to high taxes, the estate fell under municipal ownership in 1939 for $100. It then became the campus for the Highland Manor School for Girls in 1942 when it relocated from Tarrytown, New York, as reported by the Times. It was then bought by Monmouth Junior College for $350,000 in 1955, where Eugene H. Lehman, the founder of the Highland School for Girls, became the university president, and in 1957, that had happened before he stepped down to emeritus status soon thereafter. And the Great Hall then officially became a National Historic Landmark in 1985, and today it's home to various administrative offices, the English department, classrooms, Parsons Cafe, named after the Parson family, of course, and is a beloved study space for all students.
You know, Ava, in 2025, people thought that there were going to be flying cars and robot servants, but instead we get a Guns N' Roses cover band of Puppy Dogs. On October 25th, the Farmer's Dog presented a free dog Halloween costume party and parade in Washington Square Park, New York. To participate, contestants could register in the park itself the day of, and the 100 first entrants also received a free treat bag. The event kicked off with a performance from the band Honk NYC, who led the contestants through the streets and perimeter of Washington Square Park. After the parade, the MCs of the event, Jolie Dudley and Alex Phillips from Must Love Dogs and Comedy, introduced each contestant and their spooky pup. Then a group of adoptable pups from Waldo's Rescue strutted across the stage in their costumes. In third place, 2 dogs who mopped the floor with the competition, 2 pups dressed up as mops, 1 dirty, 1 clean, and not without their trusty mop. Second place was Bob Ross with his mom as a happy little tree. The first place prize was none other than the Guns N' Roses. 2 dogs dolled up with the band's ensemble sat poisely on a stage, made complete with an electric guitar and microphone. These pups sure do know how to rock, Ava.
I think that's an adorable event that had taken place, and I really hope that those adoptable pups found a home as well.
Yes.
Hopefully. And happening around campus, we're coming back here with events that we have hosted by student engagement and various clubs across campus throughout this semester. So this Friday, Monmouth University's Students Activities Board will host its annual drag show. So the event has been a campus favorite for several years, and it always draws a big crowd. Last year, students enjoyed Drag Queen Bingo at the McGill Commons Dining Hall, which I actually went to and caught a bit of that. And this year's show was expected to be just as popular as events like that. The drag show will take place in Anacon Hall in the Student Center, and students are encouraged to come out, show support, and enjoy a fun night of entertainment.
The DC Universe is back, and maybe better than ever. I had high hopes, but I'm not so sure about it now. My name is Sage Fernandez, and I am going to be discussing DC's downfall and hopefully its comeback. I was so excited to hear that James Gunn is going to be partnering with DC to direct their upcoming films because I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. Despite some controversy, I was not totally turned away from the fact that he was at the MCU and is coming over to the DCU, but I was really excited because DC is known for having pretty crappy movies. We have a few. We have Aquaman, we have Wonder Woman, and then Dark Knight, even though it's directed by Christopher Nolan, my literal heart and soul. I love the great ones, but we do have probably more bad than good. And I was really excited for the pivot starting with the Batman. And I had a lot of hope, and Superman was announced. It was there, and I saw the dog. I saw Krypto in the trailer, and I thought to myself, that's not a dog. That's AI. And that really turned me away, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like if you're gonna do it right. With the amount of technology we have right now, you can really make it look like a real dog. There's no reason that Krypto should be looking as fake as it does. I just really have a strong opinion about that. I do really like that James Gunn tried making it as close to comically accurate as possible. I do appreciate that. And I found out that he's going to be doing the same thing with Batman. And if it's anything like Superman, I'm not excited because Batman, the whole point is like dark and moody, and I liked the Robert Pattinson Batman. Oh, don't get me wrong, Dark Knight, that trilogy will always be my favorite of all time out of any movie I've ever seen in my life. I will not deviate from that ever, but I did love Robert Pattinson's Batman. It was just so cinematic and directed beautifully. The plot was beautiful. I'm so excited for part 2. But then I hear James Gunn is making his own rendition of it, and it's supposed to be more like lighthearted and comically accurate. I don't know how I feel about that because that's not Batman. Okay, you could argue, yeah, it is Batman because it's close to the comic books. But understand though. Just do it. Okay? Just hear me out. Throw me a bone, Krypto's bone, and just do me a solid, okay? But I'm really excited for, regardless of James Gunn directing it or not, Batman Part 2 is still part of DC because it is Batman. So I've said this before, I'll say it again, I think that a death in the family trope would be phenomenal because out of all the Batman movies, they have not done that. And we have seen the integration of Robin with James Gordon and, not James Gordon, the detective, one of the police officers, you know what I mean. So that was kind of like a glimpse at Robin, but not like fully becoming him. So I would love to see that, even though it was the Dark Knight canon, I would love to see a Robin and then a death in the family plot. I feel like that would be, especially with the moodiness and like the darkness of Part 1, I feel like that would be a really good Part 2. And we're already seeing speculation of the Court of Owls in The Penguin season 2, which I'm so excited about, with the crime families. So I just feel like there's so many opportunities here that could be brought in, and we're going a different, like there's two different paths that we're taking at the same time, which honestly could be good. And you know what? The more the merrier. But personally, I'm going to stick to my dark and moody Batman and my Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan and Robert Pattinson Batman. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully, I can talk more about this when more information is released about the upcoming movies, but I'm so excited for 2027 for Part 2. Keep up to date with the DC Universe because we're coming back. We're coming back. We're making a comeback, definitely, regardless of how crypto turned out. So, back to me. If you're out on the road, feeling lonely and so cold, all you have to do is call their name and they'll be there. That's right, I'm talking about the Gilmore Girls. On October 5th, the show Gilmore Girls turned 25, but the show isn't the only thing that ages like fine wine. So does the cast. Both Lorelais attended the Emmys and were reunited to be presenters of an award. This sent fans of the show into a frenzy, hoping that the show will get a reboot. Panera also launched a Fall for Your Favorites campaign to promote their fall meals. They brought back two of Rory's boyfriends, Dean and Logan, to be in the commercial and talk passionately about soup. The guys are talking about their favorite soups, but their descriptions sound eerily familiar to the characters they play on the show. Although Jess was not brought back in the commercial, he was still subtly included in the dialogue as black bean soup. The bad boy who ran away without saying goodbye, as Dean put it so boldly. And the Panera worker calling out an order at the end of the commercial for Tess, which Jared Padalecki then gets up to retrieve. Needless to say, Gilmore Girls is still going strong, and we can expect the show to carry on for many, many more years to come. We are now going to hear Ava's take on celebrating Christmas in November.
All right, so it is officially November, which means the holidays are right around the corner. Halloween is just behind us, spooky season is over, but fall is not over yet. And today I'm going to be talking about a hot topic, which includes when do you decorate for Christmas? So at my house, home in New York, I would say absolutely not before Thanksgiving. I would refuse to hear it. I am a staunch decorate for Christmas after Thanksgiving person. But this year I'm breaking that rule at my college house because all of my housemates want to decorate for Christmas tomorrow. I typically am on the fence about this, but this year I'm definitely really looking forward to the holidays. So we're gonna decorate tomorrow. The tree's going up. I'm excited for it. But I want to talk about the shift that has happened with, honestly, I think all holidays and the timeline for them. I feel like everything's almost been pushed up a month or two. So if you think about fall, which starts September 21st, first day of fall, we have people celebrating fall like all summer long. All summer long, I was getting videos of like fall, like it's people like pretending like it was fall in the middle of summer, and I don't think I'm on board with it. I'm not on board pretending that it's the Christmas season right now because we are skipping a vital holiday, and I want to talk about why Thanksgiving is such a good holiday. Podium holiday. Everyone wants to just skip past it. Everyone loves Halloween. Everyone loves Christmas. I rarely meet anyone that really appreciates Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna tell you why we should really be focusing on Thanksgiving more. I like that Thanksgiving is not centered around gifts. Personally, I love going home, spending time with family, having good food, and not having to worry about running out, getting last minute presents, whether or not I'm beating my siblings at getting better presents for my parents, all that stuff. I like to be able to go home and enjoy the company of my family in peace. I think that the consumer Christmas is ruining the holiday spirit in general because by the time it gets to Christmas time, you're kind of bored of your decorations. They're such a novelty. I love having only a couple of weeks of the tree up. You get to kind of just enjoy it. You get excited to see it. I think if you have a tree up for 2 months, you're gonna be bored of it. That's like the summertime. Like you'd get off school as a kid, you have 2 months of summer and it feels like a long time. It goes by quick, but it feels like a long time. That's exactly what you're doing with your Christmas tree. We can't be doing this. I am not on board with an early Christmas, consumer Christmas, because it's just about the tree, the presents. I walked into Target yesterday and it was all Christmas stuff and it was just sickening. I can't do it. The Christmas music, I don't want to be sick of Christmas songs by December 1st. I want to be getting excited for it. So my advice, hold off a little bit longer. I'll even tolerate a mid-November decoration season. The only reason why I'm like on board with decorating early at the college house is because, we're not there all of December. I'm not there on Christmas. So it's nice to have the decorations up for a while and not have to take them down so soon. But in general, I think we need to stop this consumer Christmas hype. We need to stop pushing the holidays earlier and earlier. We need to bring them back to their appropriate timetables. And that's all I have.
That's all we have time for tonight on Hawk TV News. Be sure to also follow our Instagram, HawkTV12, so you can stay up to date on everything you need to know.
Yeah, follow Sage on Instagram. She's the one running it. You'll get all the updates on everything happening here at Hawk TV, so definitely go check it out. But thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Good night.